All right, so get this. Today, we're diving deep into the world of APIs.
APIs, huh?
Yeah, APIs.
Yeah.
I know. Sounds kind of technical, right?
Yeah.
But trust me, this is going to be way more exciting than just some boring coding lecture.
Okay.
Think of it like we're cracking the code of some secret language.
Ooh, a secret language. I like that.
Right, the language that's like secretly running our whole digital world.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Good, because you shared this awesome video series that actually breaks all this API stuff down.
It's surprisingly approachable.
Super approachable, even for non-coders like myself.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, let's get right to it. What exactly are these mysterious APIs?
Well, in the simplest terms, APIs, which stands for Application Programming Interfaces, are basically like a set of rules that let different software programs talk to each other.
Interesting. So it's all about communication.
Exactly, like exchanging information back and forth.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So like when I order food through an app,
Perfect example.
is that an API in action?
Absolutely. The app uses an API to send your order to the restaurant system.
Oh, wow.
Another API might be grabbing your location for the delivery driver.
Oh, right.
And even processing your payment. Yep, you guessed it. Another API.
APIs are everywhere.
They are.
No, I totally get that whole secret language thing. It's like they're speaking a language we don't even see.
It's like a language that machines understand. And just like any language, it has rules and standards.
Right.
That's actually what makes APIs so powerful.
How so?
Well, imagine if every single app had its own unique way of doing things.
Oh, man.
It would be complete chaos.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's more than just sending data back and forth. It's about having a shared language, a common ground.
You got it. APIs are like the glue that holds the entire digital world together. And this glue is behind some truly incredible things. You know how Google Maps can be used in a ton of other apps?
Yeah, like ride sharing or finding restaurants nearby.
Exactly. Well, that's because Google made their Maps API available to other developers.
Oh, so they're sharing their tools.
Yep. They're letting other developers integrate Google Maps directly into their own apps.
That's pretty cool.
It's a prime example of how open APIs can fuel innovation on a massive scale.
So by creating these open APIs, companies can actually spark a whole ecosystem of new apps and services all built upon their technology.
Exactly. And it goes way beyond just consumer apps. APIs are completely transforming the way businesses operate, too.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, think about it. If you're running an online store,
Okay.
you need APIs to connect your website with, well, everything. Payment processors, shipping companies, inventory systems.
Wow, yeah. The list goes on and on.
Exactly. APIs are streamlining those operations, automating those tedious tasks, and ultimately making businesses way more efficient and adaptable.
So APIs aren't just for big tech companies. They're essential for pretty much any business that wants to thrive online these days.
Absolutely. And, the video series you shared also talked about how APIs are used within our own computers.
Yeah, something about interacting with the Windows operating system.
Right. The example used PowerBASIC along with what's called the Win32 API include file.
Okay. I have no idea what that means.
Basically, it allows programmers to tap into the core functions of Windows, things like opening files, managing windows on your screen.
So like even the most basic actions we do on our computers rely on these behind-the-scenes API calls.
Exactly. There's this whole other layer of communication happening that we rarely even think about. And it gets even more interesting when you think about databases.
Databases, those massive storehouses of information.
Right. Every website, every app, any system that stores user data relies on them.
So to interact with all those databases, developers need to use APIs too.
They do. Basically, database developers create a set of instructions called API documentation.
Okay.
And that explains how to access and manipulate the data within their database.
So it's like a rule book for developers. Make sure they're speaking the right language to the database.
Exactly. And the best part, even if the database itself gets updates or changes, as long as that API stays consistent, the apps that rely on it won't break. It's a bit like renovating a restaurant's kitchen, but without changing the menu or how customers order their food.
Oh, okay. Now that makes total sense. So these database APIs are about stability and reliability.
Right. They provide a consistent way to access and manage information, really crucial for any app that deals with large amounts of data.
This is fascinating. But, okay, I have to ask, what happens if you need to work with multiple databases, ones that might have different APIs?
That's a great question. And you're right, that can get really complicated, like needing a different translator for every country you visit.
Oh, for sure.
Luckily, developers have come up with tools and frameworks that help streamline this process. You don't always have to know every single database's API. These tools can act as a bridge, allowing you to talk to different databases using a more standardized approach.
So it's like a universal translator for databases. Phew, I'm starting to realize just how much thought and ingenuity has gone into making all these systems work together so seamlessly.
Absolutely. And what's really remarkable is that we, even as non-programmers, can potentially create our own APIs.
Right, seriously. We can.
You bet. The video series touched on this using PowerBASIC and something called a DLL.
DLL, another acronym. Break that down for me.
No problem. A DLL, or Dynamic Link Library, is basically like a little self-contained package of code that other programs can use.
Oh.
Think of it like creating your own mini software with specific functions that others can access.
I see.
And the way they access those functions is through, yep, you guessed it, an API.
Wow, so we could actually build these mini programs, share them with the world, and even create custom APIs for them.
Precisely. It's like having this amazing secret recipe and then sharing the instructions with other chefs.
I love that analogy.
They can then use your recipe to create their own unique dishes, adding their own twist and creativity. That's the real power of APIs, you know? They enable collaboration and innovation by allowing people to build upon each other's work.
This is honestly blowing my mind. It's like I'm seeing APIs everywhere now, from the apps on my phone to the systems that run the entire internet. It's like I've been given a backstage pass to the whole digital world.
That's a great way to put it. And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore, from the ways APIs are being used in unexpected fields to the ethical considerations that come with such powerful tools.
Okay, now I am really intrigued. Let's take an even deeper dive and see what other API gems we can uncover.
All right, are you ready for more APIs in action?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm like hooked now.
Okay, great. Well, let's talk about something I bet you use every day, social media.
Sure.
Ever notice how you see like embedded tweets or Facebook like buttons all over different websites?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Well, those are actually powered by APIs.
Right.
It's how platforms like Twitter and Facebook can share, their functionality and all their data with other websites.
So it's like they're all connected.
Yeah, it's a total win-win situation.
How so?
Well, the platforms, they get way more exposure, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the websites, well, they get to offer like richer content to all their users.
Oh, that's a smart strategy. It really shows how APIs are doing way more than just like the technical communication stuff. It's building those connections.
Yeah.
Creating relationships between different platforms and services.
Absolutely. And speaking of connections, let's talk about how APIs are like completely changing how businesses operate these days.
Okay.
Just imagine like a world where your online store just seamlessly talks to your shipping provider, your inventory management system, your customer relationship management software, and it's all happening thanks to APIs.
That sounds unbelievably efficient.
Right. No more like manual data entry or trying to juggle a million different platforms.
Yeah, that would be a dream come true.
I know. APIs are automating those processes, which means businesses save tons of time and tons of money. Actually, some companies are even using APIs to automate their stock trading.
Whoa, stock trading. Really?
Yeah. They can
Nice.
analyze market data in real time and then execute trades based on these predefined algorithms.
That is next level automation.
Yay.
It's pretty mind-blowing to think that these like little pieces of code can have such a massive impact on, well, the financial world.
I know, it's wild. And it's not just about like the finance world. APIs are also making all our everyday experiences so much smoother and more personalized.
Okay, give me an example.
Think about those like real-time shipping updates you get when you order something online.
Oh yeah,
Those are totally powered by APIs.
they are.
Yep, connecting the retailer, the shipping company, and your phone, and giving you like up-to-the-minute information on where your package is.
It's funny how we kind of take all that for granted. But now I'm seeing all these little details in a whole new light. It's like APIs are, I don't know, the invisible threads that are holding our entire digital world together.
What a great way to put it. And honestly, it goes even beyond the practical stuff. APIs are even being used in really creative and artistic ways.
Wow, right.
Like there are artists and musicians out there who are using APIs to create like interactive installations, generative music. They're blurring the lines between technology and art.
I never would have thought of that.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. I'm realizing like the possibilities with APIs are truly limitless.
They really are. And as we, continue to kind of explore and innovate with this technology, I think we're going to see even more like surprising and transformative applications pop up everywhere.
This is all so exciting. But I have to admit, like, with all this talk of seamless connections and automation, there's a part of me that's wondering about, the potential downsides. Like, what about security risks? Or what if these systems, malfunction somehow?
That's a super valid concern. Just like with any powerful tool, APIs can definitely be misused, exploited if they're not handled properly.
Right.
Security is absolutely crucial when it comes to API development.
Yeah.
And, implementation. There are a lot of robust protocols and best practices in place to help mitigate those risks. But it's definitely an ongoing challenge.
It's like a constant race to stay ahead,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it requires constant vigilance.
So it's a bit of a balancing act, huh? Harnessing this incredible power of APIs while also ensuring, they're being used responsibly and ethically.
Exactly. Like with any technological advancement, it's really important to consider the potential consequences and try to, find that balance that benefits everyone, both individuals and society as a whole.
This entire deep dive has honestly been a huge eye-opener for me.
Oh, good.
I've gone from, barely knowing what an API is to seeing them everywhere and realizing, their impact on our world is actually pretty profound.
It's been awesome exploring this with you. I think it's so fascinating how something, seemingly technical can have such a massive impact on our lives.
I totally agree. So, as we start to wrap up our little API adventure, is there one final takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
That's a good question. I think the most important thing to remember is that APIs are so much more than just lines of code. They're the key to connection, innovation, progress. They really showcase, human ingenuity and our ability to create these systems that, they improve our lives in countless ways.
That's a beautiful thought.
Thanks.
And it's definitely inspiring me to, keep learning and keep exploring this ever-evolving world of technology. But for now, I think my brain is officially full of, API awesomeness.
I hear you. Mine too. It's been a really great deep dive.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for coming along with us on this API journey.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you've, discovered a new appreciation for the hidden language that's powering our digital world.
Until next time.
Until next time, keep those curious minds engaged.
Yeah.
And never stop exploring.